This is the ride along, and this is also the first commercial inspection that we've ever done on this show, because up till now, everything that we've done has been residential inspections, but there's something interesting about this building. Because while this is the first commercial inspection that we've ever done, it also happens to be the biggest commercial inspection that's ever been done by Greenworks Inspections up in Dallas, Texas. We have a 700,000 square foot building that we're inspecting today, and in fact, it's so big that we're breaking it up into 2 parts. So make sure you subscribe to the show so that you don't miss any of it. In fact, this place is so big that I straight sweat through the first shirt that I brought with me. It is that big. And whereas normally on a home inspection, we kind of follow the property around linearly, to make sense of something this big, we're biting it off in chunks, system by system throughout the show. And on top of that, we don't just have one home inspector here today. We've got 4 or 5, I don't even remember. It's been so dang hot here, I'm halfway losing my mind, I swear. But this is an active and ongoing inspection, so we'll let those guys finish up, and we'll catch up with Michael Craycraft as we check out So there's a number of things on a commercial building like this that are just so otherworldly different from a residential home. And even though you might have a firm understanding of like how an HVAC system in a single family home works, this is completely different. And in fact, are we even looking at an HVAC system? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to be an HVAC type chiller system. So it's
okay.
More water fed, less air fed.
Right.
So if you notice here, we've got probably one of the more significant things is we've got water just pouring out onto the roof structure. Yeah, now the roof looks somewhat updated. It's a TPO type roof, but it's not meant to hold water long term. It will for a little bit, but this water has to go somewhere, and we've already noticed quite a few of the roof drains are clogged and not draining at all. So there's going to be a drainage issue here, but we looked at the labels of these units. They're 1999, so they're 25-year-old units. We've got a building here right behind us that houses some of the other parts of this system, and it's also kind of doing the same thing here. So the water that goes into these units, it's probably not even going fully into the units, but then it's leaking all over the place. So it's probably not going to be heating or cooling very well.
So just explain the general function here, because basically with a single family home, a typical HVAC system, you're going to be looking at a refrigerant-based unit that is basically, it's an air-to-air heat exchanger, right?
Yep.
But here you're going to have more like a hydronic unit, where basically you're transferring heat from the air to cold water, right? But give me an understanding just of how this works in general, because you've got 2 massive pumps on this thing as well.
Yep. Yeah, so it's gonna feed water into the units, and then you're gonna have a refrigeration system inside, and then some in that house, that little building as well. But it's gonna go ahead and cool the cold water and then evaporate it back out. But it's more of a, like you said, it's more of a water-fed system as opposed to an air. Now it will suck in some air just for the units and the fans and things like that, but this is gonna be more of a water chilling system as opposed to an air chilling system.
Are you melting yet? It is hot as blazes.
This water is actually clean. It's not the...
That's it, yeah. This is just us sweating away right into this puddle. So, I mean, in addition to a water rating for the roof, we need a sweat rating as well.
Yeah, so we're here in the, we're up on the roof, but we're in this kind of a refrigeration room, part of the chilling system. And we've got a bunch of standing water here on the floor. So for safety purposes, obviously we're not gonna stand in. We've got a ton of electrical here on the wall as well. But we've got an area drain over here that the water's not even going to. So the floor isn't properly sloped for that drain. So all this water is gonna have to be pumped out in order to get it out. And the real question is where is this water gonna go? So, the path of least resistance is down. So it's gonna come down through the structure. We've already noticed some water damage in several of the areas. So that just may be a good sign of where that water's coming from.
Water would prove to be an issue throughout the entire interior of the building and the exterior. But side note, I don't think this drip pan is really helping anything.
So the roof is gorgeous, man, but as we've seen up here already in a couple of spots, you've got areas of ponding, and you have a massive chiller that's leaking up here on the roof. But that's contributed to this beautiful water feature that we've got up here and a nice little victory garden.
Yeah, we have a little garden up here on the roof, which is not typical to see. So this is a...
They have a Greenworks thumb. No, cut that. That's not going in. The dads are laughing, I think. Okay, anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, so we got an area drain here. We can show the audience there, but it's not obviously working because we've got about 1.5 to 2 inches of water standing up here on the roof, which for obvious reasons is not ideal. The purpose of these drains, and I don't know if it can be seen, but you can kind of see the waviness of the roof, and they all kind of lean towards the drains. But obviously the drains would go and empty out into the parking lot.
With the roof and HVAC done, we headed downstairs to check out the...
Yeah, so what we're looking for or looking at in this building is, if you notice kind of this way, you've got what looks like a big hump in the floor. This area sags down and then it kind of raises back up and then goes back down. So we're gonna run some foundation elevations here, probably recommend our engineer, but we've also noticed quite a bit of water damage. So what it appears is that you've got some water that has sat here. Even over here, you've got what looks like mold growing in between the floor tiles. So it looks like the water has sat here and maybe gotten below the slab and lifted everything up. So probably have an engineer come out and take a look at it and see what they would recommend. But my best guess would be some sort of drainage and obviously fixing some of these leaks as well.
I've heard it said that mold is gold, and this building had plenty of it.
So you can actually see through here too, there's some, what looks like some water that has came down through the structure. So when, typically how we inspect the inside first and look for visual signs, and then we'll move to the outside because we want to see where that water may be coming from as well.
This would be a place that you would want to use an infrared camera,
Definitely.
but maybe not a black light.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely not black light.
Yeah.
So as we come through here, this is kind of now this is going to be more of a warehouse space. But as we come in here, there may have been carpet here at some point. If you look on this side of the room, you can see where there's been some water that has came through. You can see the water staining here.
Yep.
And then it's kind of even came out this way. If you look over here, we do have what looks to like some mold spots on the wall. And then up at the ceiling, everything's kind of sagging down. Now the AC is not working on this side either, so that could have something to do with these ceiling tiles, but you can see all the water staining too. So high humidity, water, mold's gonna grow. That's a kind of a perfect scenario for them. But even on this side over here, it looks like this place may have gotten flooded because you've got water staining and what looks like, again, mold up about 18 inches here.
Yep.
So,
yep.
We'll test all this. We have some swabs we'll test and confirm that it was actually mold, but you know, if you see it, you kind of know what it looks like.
Now, if you're wondering about the differences between a commercial and residential inspection, we'll answer that next time.
All right, that wraps it up for part one of this commercial inspection here on this 700,000 square foot property. Be sure to stay tuned for part two.